that I switch over.
Yeah.
I'm a genetic mutt too. I got a lot of things.
All right, Hisjay, Desiray, Jennifer. Like I was telling our students, I'm working from home today. I was possibly exposed to COVID. I'm fine. I've been checking my temperature, but just to be on the safe side, I didn't want to go down as the person who took down Muskogee language program. I value our speakers and the whole program. So I'm here at home teaching. So it's going to be a little, it may be a little bit choppy trying to do this from home, but we'll just work through it. All right, let's see if I can pull this up, and I will share it once I get it up. The Google Drive, and let's see. So I've been working all morning trying to get these new things for us. Sometimes you don't think I'm just gonna let you know, I'm not a good typer. I didn't go to school for that. Last thing I remember was in high school was typing class with a typewriter. So that tells you about my last bout with keyboarding or anything like that. So my husband, he's in personnel, so he can type his little heart away, and here I am like pigeon pecking, and nothing gets him more frustrated than watching him watching me pigeon peck on the keyboard. So it's kind of funny. Sometimes, you know how spouses will do. Sometimes I'll just sit there and pigeon peck to see if he's looking in, and they'll just make it look so painful. He'll run over here. What do you need typed? He'll type it for me. So, that's just part of married life. But to be fair, he's a fast typer. And when I was going through my college for my master's program, he's like, what do you need typed? So I'd sit there and tell him what I needed typed, and he would sit there and type it. I get my paper done really fast with all the correct indents and everything. But when he was going to school and when he was teaching, he utilized my skills, which were Photoshop, all these pictures that I had taken different places. So he was able to present some of my pictures that I had done. So I thought that was cool. All right, so right now we've got second person, and I showed you guys the template, and I did rearrange some things in the Google Drive. So maybe it's a little easier. At times I go back, and if you see that I made a mistake, I update something and I put it back in there. Like the other day, it had to dance. It was supposed to be to work. So I updated that and I put that in the Google Drive. So things will be switched around, but normally everything's going to be back where it needs to be. All right. Was anybody successful, or did anybody try to get any of our infinitive verbs, from previous weeks, and try to plug and play to see if that worked? I know, Amy, at one time you did that, and that was pretty cool, because I know unless you sit there, let's see, me and Mvhayv Barnett were talking about this before. Even when we teach, we have to sit there and we have to study, and we have to go through hours and hours of looking things up in the dictionary, conjugating correctly, making sure everything is as good as we can get it. And still there are some issues on her slides or my slides. But some of these things you will not be able to learn as easy if you don't practice. Even a couple of words a week or something. Just try conjugating. Like I said, this is the second tense, future one tense, second person. So you just plug up here your infinitive verb. And like I said, my favorite is hombida. And that would be hombida right here, to eat. You would put hombida right there, to eat. And I've got some examples. I'm just showing you right now the template, which you guys, it's easy for you guys to plug and play. So hombida, you drop your ETV, you get your verb stem, and it'll be HOMP, homp. And there's no L grading. So you just put homp, and then it goes down to your steps. Your future tense means going to. So you'd be homp ahan. You drop hompahan down and you add your person marker, itsk, which will be you. Hompahan itsk. You drop again your verb stem, hompahan itskis. And you see what each thing means. Going to, you, is. So right here, you would put hompahan itskis. I did try on my computer here to do the little pencil in thing to see if I could pencil it in and show you guys, but yeah, that didn't work. I don't have the little tool with me. And if you guys ever try to write something or sign something on a computer with your mouse, sometimes it looks like what it needs to, and a lot of times it doesn't. So I will save you from looking at my little Scrabble. All right, so hompahanitskis. You add your HOMP, hompahanitskis. I am going to eat. All right, so you can do that with any single infinitive verb we have. Litkida, to run, nojida, to sleep, legida, to sit, yakabida, to walk, walkida, to lie down, akopanida, to play, opanida, to dance, daskida, to jump. That's only an example of some of the words that you can use. And these are all in module 1, 2, and 3. And let me go ahead, since I'm here, I will see. And this is where we're at today. This is the file that we're using. This is the link today. All right, so this is my Google Drive link that I'm using today. Let's see, so you see the template right there, and let's see, let's go ahead and do, just for a review, let's go ahead and do hayada, to make. And this is from last week, hayada, and so it's just basically, like I said, plug and play. Ooh, I don't know where that came from. Plug and play, but it's helping us to learn the steps. And like I tell you guys, on the ones that we've learned, all the steps, all the modules we've gone through, the only thing that changes for first, second, and third person is the person marker on our steps. So this time we're using I for I. I think, now I think about it, I is the only one that sometimes we use which is the V, but this time we're using I. And like I said, I don't know exactly all the rules, but that's how it is. And let's go ahead. Ayada, to make. Like I said, you just put your infinitive verb, to make. You drop your ETV. You get your verb stem high. You add your ahan, ayahan, which means going to, future tense. Hayahan, add your person marker. This is last week again. Person marker was I, hayahana. Hayahanas, add your S, which is the declarative ending, is. Hayahanas. So right there in the color coding, you can see what each part of this means. Verb stem I, and you can sit there and think about it. What's the infinitive verb? And the majority of time, if you've already learned this or going over it, you can figure out what the infinitive verb was. Hayada, right here that we used. And then ahan, going to. I is I, and S, is. Hayahanes, I am going to make. Like I said, right here in front of hayahanes, right here where this blank part is, you can put dress. I am going to make a dress. I think that's hona. I am going to make daklegi, which is bread. Then let's see. So whatever you want, you can put hayahanes. Let's see, hona hayahanes. I'm going to make a dress. Daklegi hayahanes. I'm going to make bread. So that's what we went over last week, and I showed you the template. Let me go ahead and show you the rules again. Future one tense. Future one tense shows that someone is going to do something. There's no L grading in future one tense. We did also go over that one. You drop your ETV, you add your tense marker, ahan, which means going to. Depending on who you're talking about, I, it's, or nothing. So I, you, she, he, they, or it. And like I said, that's the only step that's going to change when we're conjugating in this module. Okay, and the declarative ending, S or ES, means am, are, is. I know you guys are getting proficient. You guys are getting excited. You guys can know what you're writing. You guys can understand this because it's exciting. I can see your faces. You're like, oh my gosh. So it's nice to see you guys getting this. All right. I didn't get any new infinitive verbs this week. Usually when I present something like the infinitive verbs or a lot of new information, I always try to go over it with the Mvhayvs to make sure that I'm presenting or teaching correctly. So since I'm teaching from home today and this week, I didn't get to put that together, but I did get some sentences and we will go over those later. Okay, hojejida, to write. Second person, again, example. You hojejida, to write. Or drop your ETV, hojej. And for those of you, and I know I've talked to some of the first speakers, the way that I'm presenting it to you is the way that I learned more academically, step by step, like I would say like in public schools, but they learned from just absorbing the knowledge when they were children. So whenever we talk about verb stem and hojej, that kind of freaks them out. They're like, that doesn't mean anything. And I'm like, I know, but it's a beginning on how we conjugate. They just know to add all of these things, add this, add this, and this. So like I said, this on its own probably wouldn't mean anything. It's just, the verb stem. Okay. Again, no L grading. Hojejahan, you add your ahan, means going to. Hojejahanitsk, you add your itsk, which means you. Hojejahanitskis, add the declarative ending, which means am, are, is. And then again, you just drop it on down. Hojejahanitskis. Again, verb stem, hojej. Going to is ahan. Ooh, I forgot to change that again. So just scratch that out. And the person marking is you because itsk is you. And then is, es, or es. It means am, are, is, hojej. And so what I tell my people that come to class in person is if you look at this part right here, that is scary. I mean, you're like, oh, snap, I'm not going to be able to pronounce that. And you kind of defeat yourself before you even try. But the cool thing about the way that we do it in steps, if anything, you can just look up here. Hojej, right here in the red. Ahan, right here in black. Itsk is the blue, and is. Hojejahanitskis. So that makes this big word easier in little bite-sized chunks to try to pronounce it. So Hojejahanitskis, I am going to write. And then a book, you can write a book, you can write a list, you can write a note, and you would put that right here where the blank part is in front of Hojejahanitskis. All right. Go ahead.
Hojejahanitskis is you are going to write, correct?
Right. You're right. You're right. So good catch. All right. So just put you are going to write. When we make a lot of these templates, we just kind of overwrite everything because it takes a little time, but yes, you're correct.
The templates make them really easy though. I mean, it's some of the stuff.
Yes.
It makes it easier.
It does make it easier. So I will correct that and I will make sure the template is correct. But yes, it makes it a lot easier. And like I tell my students that when I was learning all of this in college, and remember in college, you pay how much money to get a grade. And boy, I was stressing. And if I had some of these templates when I was going through school, I'd be like, just knock them out. But like I said, I share this stuff with you guys to make it easier for you guys. And like I said, this is only one way to learn. And you see other Mvhayvs teaching differently. If you can learn that way, learn that way. I'm just saying, learn the language. All I'm out here to try to get us to learn the language, speak the language, and make sure our language is still around. I mean, you hear me try to talk about our culture and stuff, but the history of the native or indigenous language or even the indigenous people is not a happy history for the most part with things that happen. So, a lot of us don't know our language. And that's, I'm just an example of that. I did not grow up hearing it. My grandmother, my great grandmother were in boarding school. We didn't know a lot of our culture. So at the age of 40 something, I don't know, at the end of my 40s, see 20, it was 49 maybe, I started learning the language. So like I said, I tell everybody I'm still learning. I'm trying to teach and learn at the same time. And it's like trying to run by your bicycle and jump on at the same time. It's kind of hard. But we're getting through it. I think we're doing okay. You guys are learning. I'm just reviewing some of the things that help me to help you. So like I said, we're just going forward. So hijida, to see. I hear hijida and I also hear hijida and I also hear hijida. It just depends on who I ask. So hijida, to see. You drop your ETV, you get your verb stem. Again, for those who are first speakers, they'd be like, what is that? Just tell them it's, you're just conjugating. So, and I have people tell me that's wrong. But then when I get to the end, they're like, okay, well, that makes sense. All right, no L grading. Hijahan, it's, you add your person marker, it's you. Hijahan, it's, add your declarative ending, am, are, is. That's where the am, are, is comes from when you make your sentences. Hijahan, it's, each, ahan, it's, is. Again, this should be you. So go ahead and scratch that out. And again, this should be you as well, right here. I will correct that. All right, so verb stem, tense marker going to ahan. Person marker, it's supposed to be you. Right here is you. And then S, you add your ES. And the reason why we add ES, I should put it here. Instead of just the S, is right here in front of the ES is a K. And for those of you who've been with me for a while, you know that right here, the K, if the K was a vowel, would we add the ES, yes or no? Right here. The K was a vowel. Would you add the ES? Okay. All right. So if this K ended in like the if there was a V, then we would not add the ES. The reason why we would not add the ES is because we don't put two vowels together. They do occur in some of our words, but we try not to make a diphthong, which is two vowels together. So if after the K was a V, we would just add S. All right. And I can put that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What would be an example of where there would be a V after the ETSK?
All right. So more than likely that would be, no. That's a good question. More than likely it'd be right here. Let's see. Right here. Yeah, I'm just showing you a vowel that's there. And that's in the first person. Sometimes, let's see. The way we're conjugating, it doesn't look like there would be a V, but I'm just saying sometimes in some other words, things that I probably have not learned is I sometimes see a V after the N, or in other, not going to, but different other circumstances, you don't add two vowels together. So right here.
Okay. That's just a general rule thing. That's no two vowels together unless it's like a weewa, which we know is a word.
Right.
All right. Okay.
Right. So that's why right here in the first person, we just added the S instead of ES.
Okay.
All right. So that's the general rule that I've learned from my Mvhayvs is you don't put two vowels together. You don't purposely put two vowels together. Like you said, weewa for water is a vowel, two vowels together, but that's just how the language was. So, all right. Legida, to sit. And like I said, I'm just going to show you a few examples. I usually try to show at least 3. So this will, set it in your mind on how to conjugate it. Legida, you drop your ETV. Again, verb stem, that probably means nothing, but you know that that's a part of the infinitive verb, legida. No L grading. Legahan, it's. You add your person marker, you add your going to. Legahanitskis. Add your S. Again, I forgot to put the E, but that's why we add the ES, is because the K right there is not a vowel, so we add a vowel. Legahanitskis. Verb stem, going to person marker again, this should be you. And MR is, which is ES, and again, you right here. Legahanitskis, you are going to sit. All right. And so these are just, like I said, beginner sentences, beginner conjugation. So we know, yeah, okay. Hijira, to see. This is the last one that I have for you guys for this example for a second person. Hijira, to see. Again, you add, I have you guys write it in, because remember, when we write things in, it's muscle memory. It helps to enforce what we learned verbally and visually, and then you're writing it, and it's kind of funny. And I've told this story before because you guys hear a lot of my stories. When I was going to school, of course, I was the oldest student and in the class, and I didn't want to be called up, or because she would call us up to the board. Imagine being 50 something and they're like, "Hey, Desiree, come up here and write this down." And I'm like, "Whoo!" And I've got I don't know what you call it. I guess anxiety when you get called up to the board in front of everybody and you're still learning, so you don't quite know. So she would call me up to the board and I get so much anxiety. I was like, you could ask me my name and I wouldn't remember. I would look at everybody. I'd be like, deer in the headlights look. But anyway, after class, I would go back to the house. Yeah, stage fright. I would go back to the house, and all of our infinitive verbs, I would conjugate every single one of them. And the muscle memory, that saved my life. I mean, I would sit there when she'd say, "Desiree, come up here," and she'd give me the word that I was supposed to conjugate. We couldn't take our notes. So that's a big thing. We couldn't take our notes, so we'd have to have it in here. So I'd get up and I'd go, and I'm like standing there with a piece of chalk. No, it wasn't chalk. It was the dry markers, the dry marker. And I would write what she had me to conjugate, like hijira, to see. So I put hijira, to see, and she'd tell me, and this is different, conjugations. She'd tell me what conjugation we were doing. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I don't remember. And I put my hand with the dry erase marker on there, and it would come back to me. It would come back to me. I would go in my order. And of course, the young man that was right next to me, he's like, from infinitive to the end. He's like, infinitive, boop, boop, boop. This is the end. And here I am, long conjugation, boop, 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 finally the end. But, that helped me remember is the steps. Anyway, I got to one of the tests one time, and same thing. We were supposed to conjugate, and I put my pencil to the paper, and my hand started remembering. So it was mind, and hand muscle memory. So that, people say that doesn't work. Yes, it does. All right, hijira. You've got your verb stem right here. No L grading. Hijahan, going to. Hijahan itsk, person marker you. Hijahanitskis, add the declarative ending, MR is. Hijahanitskis. Verb stem, going to, person marker should be you. I will change that again. And Hijahanitskis, you are going to see. Okay, I got to change that too. You are going to see. All right. All right, looks like we've made it through our examples. Like I said, just you guys sit there and plug and play. I will, in a few minutes, give you the link for the whole Google Drive that I have. And this is only for my Google Drive, I think. So you will have access to the first, second, and third modules. And you can review. And if you have any questions, if you're looking through that and you have any questions, feel free to ask in class. We've gone back, I don't know if it was online or on my Friday class, but we went back to L grading, and people were asking, what is L grading? And that's something we did in the very first module. And that was for present, what we did that day, what we are doing presently. And there was different rules. That's why, you see L grading, but I always put that in my notes as well. But you're feel free, like I said, that was module 1. Feel free to jump back there and look at the notes and stuff. Because it's different rules. All right. Since I have not been back to the office, I had not gotten a chance to have our speaker speak this. So I will speak it. These are new sentences that I wanted us to learn. And when I tell you guys to speak or to just use Muskogee, and that's an everyday thing, just try to get that Muskogee, your brain switch from English to Muskogee. Just something easy as, it is cold. Kasapit os. So that's why I give you these sentences. So even if there's nothing else you can say, go step outside and say, Mojaneta heit os. Today is hot. All right, so these are just little things that'll help you to flip back into the Muskogee when we're trying to learn the language. Okay, so how is it outside? Pera estoy doa. Pera estoy doa. How is it outside? All right, it is cold. Kasapit os. Kasapit os. Again, like, this one won't let me highlight like the other one. Again, you can put the T with the OS, Kasapit dos. It is cold. Because I know Mvhayv Barnett, that's how she learned, and she was telling me you could do either or when we were talking about this before. So I learned this the way that it's shown. This is directly for something I learned in college. And that's how they taught at that place. Like I said, Mvhayv Barnett usually says Kasapit dos with the T over here. All right. And you will see it both ways. You will see and hear people speak both ways. So neither way is wrong. You know what's going on. All right. It is hot. Heit os. Heit os. It is hot. Heit os. And if I spelled something wrong, I think I left the I out on that one. Heit os. Because it's got the A sound. The I's got the A. Yeah, there should be an I there. Heit os. It is hot. Like I said, I am not a typer, so I fat finger a lot of things. I do have to go back and revise, so I will do that. Mojaneta heit os. Today is hot. Mojaneta heit os. Or you can put Mojaneta heit dos. Either way is good. Mojaneta kasapit os. Today is cold. Mojaneta hidiset. Hidiset. Okay. This one I have a question on, and I'll have to ask because I've seen hidosi. That's it. Mojaneta hidoset os. But I've seen that spelled differently. I'll have to ask the Mvhayvs. Mojaneta hidoset os. Today is beautiful. My tongue today is not wanting to speak right now. It's okay. Hotoli yikchitos. The wind is strong. Hotoli yikchitos. The wind is strong. All right. And it's kind of funny how these are all from the same paper that I had in college, but at the bottom here it's hotoli yikchitos. They have the T over with os. Hotoli yikchitos. All right. So either way is good. And these are the sentences I wanted to leave you with today. So when you walk outside, you're like, oh, today is hot. Mojaneta heit os. Heit os. And then you can say Mojaneta kasapit os. Today is cold. Mojaneta hidoset. Hidoset os. Hidoset os.
I have a question in regards to this right here. How is it? Is it necessary to distinguish if somebody's asking you a question like that? Like about you're saying you're cold or whatever, or it's cold. Is it necessary to distinguish between inside and outside if you're inside? Like if somebody's asking you, how is it?
Not that I understand.
In a response. Okay.
Right. Not that I understand, because, like you hear Mvhayv Barnett, it's situational environment, if you're inside in your office and somebody asks you that and you say today is cold, you're usually talking about outside.
Right. Okay. I didn't know if you had to designate that in the speech itself to tell somebody.
not that I understand. From what I hear the speakers talk about when we sit there and talk about things. Our language is simple but complex. So unlike English, we don't have separate words for different things. You just kind of know, if you're talking about, you're coming in from outside. Well, today is hot,
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
All right. And let's see our nature words. Again, I usually put these to a PowerPoint and have the Mvhayv speak them, but today I was not able to do that. And these are the nature words. And like I tell the class and tell everybody that's learning our language is, use it whenever you can, speak it whenever you can, driving down the road, ito, tree, hotoli, wind, ninny, road. So these are things that I think about, and it's funny. I'll sit there and sound things out. My husband's like, "What are you doing?" I'm sitting there sounding things out in Muskogee. I'm like, now he knows, so he doesn't ask. But at the beginning, he's like, "What are you saying?" But it just keeps my mind thinking about Muskogee. And when we're trying to learn a language that we don't hear every day, that's hard. So you kind of have to constantly just keep yourself in the mode of learning and hearing the sounds. And if you guys have the Muskogee hymns, that's an awesome way to remember things. I know on YouTube, we have some elder interviews. Put that on. If you're washing dishes or something, you'll hear some of these words that we go over. You hear some of the things that they're talking about. You won't remember, or you won't catch everything, but you'll catch a lot. And the more your vocabulary, the more you're here. All right, so nature words. And since it's been so nice here in Oklahoma this last couple of days, it's not too hot, I thought we'd do nature words. If you're going out and you're looking at things, it's nice to be outside right now. All right, and you see that I've broken it down. I try to break everything down. You see the long E on things, right? Oh, goodness. I keep doing that. You see the long E on things. Yes. I don't know if you can see these things popping up, but so Hussy is sun, Athisi is moon, Bahi is grass, and again the long E over it, of course, means the long E sound because we got the eh sound and the E sound. I guarantee you, I looked this up in the dictionary and I made sure I was correct when I put the long E's on everything. And then Ido, tree. And so, like I said, I'll be driving, Ido. And my grandchild, she'll be, Ido, in the back. So she knows. The cool thing about that is she started school again, preschool. And I told her parents, I'm like, look, when you take her to school, make sure that they know that she is bilingual. So they won't tell her if she says Ido, tree, they won't tell her that's wrong. Because there's nothing like trying to teach somebody a language or speak to them in our language. And then somebody says, that's wrong. You're saying it wrong, or that's wrong. It's supposed to, some of the things that I hear people say, you're supposed to be speaking English. I'm like, well, I'm a bilingual, I'm speaking my own language. But anyway, that was something I didn't even think about with my kids because I wasn't on my language journeys. If you have any children or grandchildren that are learning, just tell somebody, in their school that they're bilingual or they're learning, another language. So nobody will say that's wrong or, don't speak this. And it never dawned on me before my grandchild. So just, something to think about. Okay. So what I was looking at, snow right here, there were different words for snow and I put them all up there. Hituti, hatki, hituti, thako. From what I learned was hituti, thako for snow. But I did not see the other ones. I can see, like I said, all three of those were in the dictionary. And I do have it in the syllables down here. And then owa and wiwa for water. Now, when we talk about the rain is oski. And when you talk, and it's kind of confusing. Just when I think I got something, they're like, no, that's only for water. That's not for falling water, or that's not for taking a shower water, or that's not for pond water. And I'm like, for me, since I'm a beginner, not quite a beginner, but I can still get my point across. I just say, oh, wow, for some of these things when I'm showing my grandchild or when I'm talking to somebody. And then they will share with me. I'm like, hey, Owa, pond. And then they share with me the word for pond. But just FYI, Owa Wiwa is not for all of the water. Oski is for rain. I learned that one. All right. For wind is hotoli. Hotali. You got the hotali. Hotali. All right. Dotka for fire. Igana for earth. Suta, sky. Hachi for river. I always get river and stream mixed up. Hachuji, stream. So river would be Hachi. And river is Hachuji. And usually when you have the UCE at the end of everything, that means little. Hokoji, that would be little woman or girl. And so right here, I'm just guessing that river is big and stream is small. That's why it's Hachuji. All right. Star is Kolaswa, or Goji Jamba. Gojo Jamba. Star. I looked it up in the dictionary, and both of those are for star. I did, however, and just to let you know, when you look at some of these books, they may not be 100% accurate for certain areas, maybe for an area that they studied. But I was told Kolaswa was for star, and Kojo Jamba were for many stars. But I didn't see that in the dictionary.
Yeah. Chumba is sweet. I'm trying to figure out what the Kojo would be for the Kojo Chumba.
I don't know. Sometimes I think like that. I think, oh, that's part of this, part of that. And they're like, nope, it's different. Like, right. Okay. Just when Milky Way. Jamba is sweet. Yes, Jamba is sweet. So yeah, I was thinking about that, because I think about that too. And I think about it in that way. And sometimes, like I said, they're like, well, not for this instance. Well, how do I know which instance? So like I said, it's a constant learning, but it's cool. I'm excited to learn and to speak, because like I said, I started in my late 40s. I'm in my 50s now, and I definitely see progression, and I hope you see that in yourself as well. All right. Let's see. Ohology, cloud. Ohology, cloud. Hurricane, hotoli, tako. Hurricane. And let's see, for hail, hitudi, nithka, hail. And and this is something I looked up in the dictionary as well, because I learned it, ido isi for leaf, which means tree hair. Tree hair. Ido isi, tree hair. And that was cool because, like I said, our language is simple but complex, and we don't have a lot of words for things. And some of the you hear Mvhayv Barnett talking about situational environment. You see that a lot. So ido isi is how I learned it. I've heard it in the dictionary, do isi. And if you look in front of the T, is that little mark, that little apostrophe mark. And that usually means, when you see that in the Muskogee writings, is that they left something off. So if you look at the one right before it, ido. So basically, ido isi, it got shortened down to do isi. And then you look further, you still have that little mark, so it still means ido, but it's shortened do wisi for leaf. So these are 3 different ways to say leaf. I think I heard somebody speak do wisi the other day, and I was like, But this was a speaker, and they were an elder in one of the meetings I was in. They went, Dowisi? I was like, I always wanted to say, you're saying it wrong. Because I didn't learn it that way. But now, like I said, I didn't know how to spell it. And when I looked in the dictionary, I'm like, oh, that's what they were saying. So that's pretty cool. You learn something and you learn something and you learn something. Koja Jamba Star Ogi Joga Tako Ofa Ejunks. EJ Yunks. Okay, Thor, you remember I'm still learning what exactly I'm trying to say. Star Koja Tako. Okay. Oh, you see. Okay. Okay. I got it. Something about he sees the big stars. Like I said, I'm still trying to learn.
That's good. I mean,
okay, go ahead.
Okay, got it though. Oh, you wanted me to say?
What was it in English you were saying?
I just said Kojachamba, star meaning Chocatlacto, Bible, the Bible, Alpha within the giants, I think.
Like I said, when people, go ahead.
Yeah, I've seen it in writing in the Bible.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. And that's one of the things. There's so many different literature out there, and you see things spelled and written differently. It's you just know you come across all these things in some of the writing, and you can see up here, for for leaf, you see 3 different ways. For snow, you see 3 different ways. So there's different ways. And like I said, when I was in school, somebody said Golaswa was a big star and Kojo Jumba was many stars. But when I looked in the dictionary, I didn't see that. I'll have to ask Mahaya Barnett. But, sometimes, like I said, in different regions of the area, some people might say one way and some people might say another way. And I don't know if that's, in fact, what's going on with the word star. All right. Do you have another question, Thor? Do you have anything to add?
No, that's it.
Mahaya,
okay. Yes, go ahead.
I have really appreciated your practice of gratitude. I was already kind of talking to the animals and the plants, but you had suggested giving gratitude every time you see it and practicing that way. And that has been just really opening on many levels spiritually, but just the practice too of it. I really, that's been beautiful. So thank you for sharing that. That was perfect.
You're welcome. And that's what I do. I was like, I have more of appreciation when I can speak to things in my language. And it's almost like the respect is reciprocal. It comes back to you, not so much in a physical way, but it's like that they can hear you and understand. And so that is an aspect. And like I said, I've learned a lot of this stuff because of boarding school. I didn't have that teaching. But when I had to go to college and write some of these papers and read some of the old papers and even papers from other tribes, that's how a lot of our indigenous people think is, and we know that everything is connected. We're all in a circle. So why not treat like the bird brothers, the fish brothers, the tree brothers, the tree people, the sky people, the fish people, the bird people, and the tree people, and they would call them people. And that was so beautiful because if you know somebody by their name or have a familiarity, including our resources here, our trees, our grass, it's like you have a respect and you're like, well, I don't want to bother them because, they've been here for millions of years, thousands of years. Some of these trees are old, hundreds of years. And you're like, I don't want to, bother them or impede their growth or anything. So it's a different respect. And Mado, thank you for, acknowledging that because that's how I felt. And I also, feel like if more people thought of things like that, we would have a better, um, respect for everybody, including each other, you know. So, all right. So let's see, Leaf and then Morning Star. It says Hayaticha, Hayaticha. See, I didn't get to ask Mahai Barnett this one this morning. This is one I threw in there because I like the thing of Morning Star. Hayaticha, teach-cha, because it's got the long E on it. Hayaticha. Morning Star, nature Morning Star. So I like that because sometimes, you get out there with your coffee and you want to sit there and you're like, you just have that solace and that time with whatever you're talking to. And I know I've said this before, and I thought that was exciting was, if the creator gave each one of our indigenous people, our tribes, our different groups, if he gave, or, if it was given to us, then how does he know who's talking to him? Is, oh, well, if I say Saganamasi, oh, that's a Muskogee person. If I say God, oh, that's an English, person, So it's just like when somebody says mama, some of your kids say mama, you turn around, some of them say mom. And sometimes you're like your grandchild, Nana, who's talking to you. They're calling you different names, but they're still talking to you. So that's what I think about, and it's funny. My mind goes off in different ways, but that's, I think, respect, oh, somebody's speaking to me in Muskogee. Somebody's speaking to me in Sioux. Somebody's speaking to me in Pawnee. I think that's really cool, and if the creator gave it to us, speak it, whatever language, that you feel comfortable in, because a lot of us now are bilingual, trilingual, and a lot of us are trying to learn other languages as well. And I think that's cool. If you can do that and switch back and forth, that's awesome. Some of these kids, you go to Europe and some of these kids are like, you drive into Germany, boop, 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 German. You drive into France, boop, 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 France, French. You drive into Spain, Spanish. And then they go to UK and English. And this is the same child. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're only 15, 16, and you just can like switch channels. I was so shocked that somebody could do that. But a lot of us who grew up in the United States only speak one language. So I think, unless you're taught in high school, you have to have Spanish or French, or German, then, you don't really venture out. But I think it's really cool to hear people that had that opportunity to change languages just like that. All right, so we're getting close to the end here, end of our class here. But this is something that was cool to me, and it's not really having to deal with our conjugations right now. But somebody wrote in Facebook, Pikidiko, and I was like, huh. And they said restless, having a troubled heart. So with all of these little tools that we give you to learn, you can break this down because, sometimes things have a name, and sometimes the Muskogee had the name that described what was going on, like Yabalawagi, flexible nose for elephant. So if you look at Hidiko, you look at Fiki, you look at Hidi, good, Go, not. So now that we already know Ko, so there it is. That's the breakdown. Heart, Hidi, good, and then Go, not. Heart, good, not. So all that was put together to make the word Fikidiko. All right. So I thought that was really cool because you guys now have these little these little tools, your tool bags of language, to sit there and think, go means not. If that's the only thing you can get out of that is go usually means not, go or ego, then that's really something to put in your tool bag. And when I first started working at the Muskogee language program, I found the word Bikita, inner peace. So I have that on a little sticky note in front of my office, on my desk. And it says Bikita, inner peace. So I sit there and look at that sometime, and I'm just like, all right. So some of the things that give me inner peace, little things, speaking, going on a walk over here. We've got a little pond by our house. Going on a walk, speaking to, the grass, pahi, speaking to the tree, Amy, like you were talking about, speaking to the sun, speaking to the wind, hotoli, you know. So just little words, we're just building on what we know. And Laswa Kojo Jumbis and Daisy Dos is newer than the word Kojo Jumba. Kalaswa is a newer word than Kojo Jumba. Yeah. Well, like I said, when you read some of these dictionaries of these books, it's good. I'm not going to say it's not. It's good to know. But then sometimes I hear our speakers saying stories after we look things up, and they don't match up. They don't always match up. So what was written some places is not always a definite. There might be more to the story. Just saying, I don't know. But anyway, I do look things up in the dictionary. We look things up in the dictionary. So whenever we get a chance or we get a question, we can say, this is where we got it. But anyways, anybody have any questions? I thought this was cool oh goodness, I did that again. To see where the breakdown of restless, having a troubled heart was. Pigi, Easy, cool. Heart, good enough. And then inner peace. Kikifka. All right. If anybody has any questions, just go ahead and ask. I think we are gone through everything. Let's see, I will get that chance to edit and put second person you instead of I in our example. So I will put that in there. Next week, we will be third person. And from our words, I will try to make some sentences plus nature words. And plus from the previous modules, I will try to make some more sentences. Like I said, when I do all this stuff, I try to sit down with one of the Mvhayvs to make sure that everything is correct before I present it. And I wasn't able to do that, so I just gave us words and then some sentences we had. Like I said, just practice, practice, practice. Today is hot. Mojaneta heitos or homogeneta heitos, either one, And thank goodness it's not 105, 110. It's like in the 90s. So I'm happy. And Amy, I'm glad you're with us today. I know there's a lot going on in Florida. And for everybody else, Jimmy, Thor, and I can't see everybody right now. Thank you for coming. Cassandra, Kian, Christy, Mado. And I will see you next week. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. Also, I encourage you to sit there and take the template and just do a few words of infinitive verbs. Just switch them over, because once you keep doing that, it'll register in your mind and it'll get to the point where you won't have to do long math. You won't have to do the long conjugation. You'll just know. But until you get there, you just got to go through steps, and that makes it easier. All right.
It does really work. And thank you for taking the time in your isolation from your home and whoever's supporting around you for being quiet in the background. I know it's not always just you, but thank you so much for doing that. We really appreciate all you do for us. All of the Mvhayv do. So
Mado, Jimmy, Mado, Thor, Mado, Christy, Mado, Sandra, and then Mado, Kian. So I will say Hadam Chihitakaflis. I will see you all again.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mvhayv.
Bye.